Hello, sir.
All right.
Oh,
So
yes.
finally we have Sugandha here. Uh, and of course, today's guys, are you all able to see both of us and hear both of us clearly? Please give a thumbs up. Fantastic. All right. So as you all know, I'll just reiterate this weekly ritual of these sessions, what this is about, right? Uh, this journey of learning and then driving your career growth out of that by the things that you have learned. Of course, it's a journey with a lot of efforts, right? Different people come with different backgrounds, and there are different kind of questions that keep popping up in your head, right? Could it happen with me? I have this particular background. So what we do is that we invite our people like learners from community, alumni who have exemplified, despite coming from very non-conventional background, a journey which is kind of very interesting in one way and inspiring as well, right? So last weekend we had session with Aaron, where Aaron worked as graduated from college, worked as in the business development sales team for a couple of years, and then he gave a lot of efforts towards his data science learning, and now is working as a data science engineer, right? Uh, Sugandha has also very very interesting story. I'll quickly introduce her, and then Sugandha, stage is all yours. Uh, I personally find Sugandha your story to be very very inspiring, to be honest.
Thank
Uh,
you so much, sir.
so Sugandha had she finished like her graduation in I think 2018, uh, and then after that, because of maternity leave and then responsibilities, she had almost 3 to 4 years of career break. Uh, while of course she was always enthusiastic about learning, she kept learning with different channels ways. Uh, Early 2022, I think March 2022 is when you started your skiller journey. Uh, and then today she works at a very very good company in the data science team. Uh, Before this, she was in a digital marketing role. So after these 3 4 years of career break, she started a digital marketing role for a short stint, and then she transitioned into a data science role. So this is briefly about Sugandha. Sugandha, over to you. Maybe if you could, and see, like, just quick question to all of you: how many of you here had this worry in mind that I have a career break? Would I be able to even restart? Give a thumbs up if that is you, right? A lot of people. One important thing that I want to tell you is don't worry about that. Sugandha is your role model right in front. Uh, Arup, 7 months, and Sugandha there had 3 to 4 years of break, right? So don't worry. Sugandha will be sharing her journey, how she prepared, what hurdles she faced. Of course, it's not a cakewalk. You will have to put effort, you will have to learn a lot of things, right? But with hard work, by building the right skills, uh, Sugandha managed to do that even after 3 4 years of career gap, right? So Sugandha, stage is all yours. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Abhimanyu, sir. The person that you see over here has been my biggest inspiration. I seriously admire him a lot. I mean, we haven't met that much, but yeah. So, as Abhimanyu sir said, that I actually completed my post graduation in 2016, and that too from a very reputed university from the university campus. So, but post that, we face, that's what I always say, that we face a lot of gap. What we are taught, even in the best universities, and what the company demands, what the real scenario is like. So, there's a huge gap over there. I was curious at that time also that what am I learning? So basically, you have the learning point of view. So I would like to tell that I am a statistics master graduate, postgraduate from Punjab University, Chandigarh. But being after that one, so 2014, 15, 16 was the time when there were no data analyst or data scientist. There were statisticians. So the only thing you could go in the market and ask for a job is, do you have a statistician role? So this whole journey came out after 2016 when, but you're having the degree. What about the skills? You're not having the right skills. So you know stats, but you don't know programming. You don't know Python. You don't know anything. So that's the main gap. How you're going to, analyze the data and do what you want to do. So that's why I joined as a digital marketing intern for around 3 months in a startup company in Mohali, and then I joined as a data analytics executive in that's a very beginner role, but people would demand me 75% of the thing as the digital marketer, and only 25% was the the data analytics part. So if most of you have heard about Google Analytics, I did the certification for that one, Google Analytics, and at that time it was Google AdWords. So now it has been changed, and there's an automated tool where we work on Google Data Studio as well. So that was the whole thing. Google BigQuery even at that time was not there, so I'm talking about 2017, 6 years back. So at that time we had Google Data Studio, so I used to work on that one. Then after that I got married and all the things changed, so I had to shift to Gurgaon with my family. But I had a pregnancy and it was complicated. So doctors advised me to, you know, uh, basically take bed rest in that one. So that career gap extended to 2 years. So in 2020, as we all know, COVID hit badly. And still I started applying for jobs that even if something doesn't happen, I should have a job as a digital marketer only. I'll start working with that one, and then I'll, upgrade myself, because but that hunger of data analytics was always there. So at that time only I started learning Python by myself. So but that didn't work because you don't have the proper guidance with you. You're not having the proper set guideline कि अभी क्या करना है, तभी क्या करना है, what to do, what not to do, what to learn, what not to learn. Because Python is not just for data analytics or the data scientists, but it is for a whole bunch of people, for the software developers, for anybody who wants who wants to learn programming easily. Python is for them. And my basic fear was, how do I do programming? Because even if we are living in 2K21, I must tell you, in the universities till today, we are taught R. The statisticians are taught, and if if I talk about myself, we started from Fortran, C++, then R was taught. No Python was there, nothing. So the basic fear was that programming is very difficult. And in data analytics, you need it because you can't survive without that. So that is the whole journey. So the career gap extended to 2022, because in 2021 I started applying for jobs, but again, since I was not well equipped with the industry standards, so there's a very fancy certificate of Google Data Analytics for beginners. So I enrolled in that one, and that is present at Coursera. Once you do that certificate, you certainly realize this is not going to put you anywhere. That's a very basic certificate that is seriously that is just for the interns, those who want to get the internship, those who those that too, that belongs to different background, not from the maths or stats or something like that. They are from the very different background, and they just want to enter that field. So I soon realized that okay, this is not going to work. But I didn't deterred from my way, because I had I had the certification for the Google Analytics in that one. So basic was to get a job either through the digital marketing or anything. So when I got the job in late 2022, January late 2022, so the 1 month was okay, but I soon realized this is not the survival, and that's when I came through Scalar's website, and I enrolled in March 2022 beginner batch in March 2022 itself. So when I started my journey, so now when I was learning, the fear that I might be outdated, I might not match the industry standard, that was gone. The very first month, we started from the Python's beginner batch. So the very first month made me realize, okay, programming is not at all difficult. You can do it, and you can learn it. So the journey literally became a little bit easier. But obviously, the only thing that you have to focus, you got to learn. You can't just rely on this thing, अरे ठीक है यार तो हो जाएगा. And I would like to tell you, the thing you are seeing today, It is a 2 year, it is not a 2 year journey, it is basically a 10 year journey. So I started from 2014. So the idea of getting specialization in statistics started from 2014, where I really wanted to enter this field, that okay, this is very fascinating, and most of them is that it is very practical. You can see, and you can see the impact, how right now today, when we are giving the insights, when we are giving the customer insights in our institution, in our organization, people implement them, and you can see the change. You can see how it is impacting the business, how you're getting praise, how people, they see the real changes, they see the real journey. It is mind boggling, it is tentative, it is everything. But at the end of the day, you have to realize why I started this. I started this because I want to do it. And that's the whole mantra. That is, there's no jadoo ki chhadi or something like that. That's, you're going to just do this one, and the whole thing will happen. No, it is not. You have to put in your effort, and the journey was not at all easy. You have a kid, you have a family, you have a job, you have to upgrade yourself. So
So
all
then
the
I will double click on that. So when the course started for you,
Mhm.
uh, tell us a little bit about your time management, because as a mother of a young kid, uh, I'm sure you would have faced quite few challenges. I see that your adherence in the program is super high. You have 99% PSP, 100% attendance. You have cleared all the mock interviews with strong recommendations. How did you manage the time? And if you could also tell everyone about module by module, like for example, now that you have completed it, you are working in ways, working on fantastic tech and data science related problems. If you look back, what would be your advice to someone who is going through the journey right now?
Uh, I think I did a lot of mistakes when I started, and again, that is this platform, because there's one more reason that I would like to add. People today come up with, on the LinkedIn also, sir. People come up with this one. Why to join Scalar only? Why it was Scalar only? Although you see the price comparison, although there's not a job guarantee or something like that. Why? So I would like to include this thing. I personally, I did courses on Coursera, not from this time, but rather from 2019. Okay, so I have gone through Andrew NG. I was having the pre background in statistics. I was well aware of the machine learning models also. But if you come up with the competitive platforms, I had two of my relatives working over there also, so I got a really in-depth analysis from them, that why. Okay, and they suggested me that, well, if you really want to learn, these are not the platforms. These are for those people who are already working as a data scientist, and they just wanted to they just wanted to excel in their fields. They're already working at a very high institutions, at a very high organizations. They just want them to, enhance their knowledge or something like that. So
Got
this
it.
was the main reason why I joined Scalar. And time management, it was the biggest issue. Consistency was the biggest issue. In the 1 month, it was like, okay, ठीक है, because I joined the late night session, so my classes were from 9 to 11:30. Sometimes, and after, when we enter the DSA module, it was a bit challenging for me, because again, programming was my biggest weakness. Today I wouldn't say I am a pro at that one, but now, from starting from very zero, moving till 5 or 6, it was the thing. Now I'm not scared of seeing the questions. Okay, I'll try to solve it. If not, I'll reach out to somebody. So the main challenge was time management, because I think my job timings at that time, sir, were in the morning. So 7:30 to 4:30 were my shift timings. So I managed accordingly. So the the middle timing that we have it, I gave it to my family and to my learning. So that was the biggest achievement, or you can say the biggest, catalyst for me, was my shift timings were in the morning. So you had it. It was not possible for me ki, after 11:30 I study or that one, but it after I think 1 week I realized this thing. If I don't revise regularly, I'm going to lost a track, and that happened with me. because in the DSA module, it was the intermediate DSA.
Right.
I was not aware. Also, the topics came very new to me, and I was a very newbie to that one. I didn't realize that I need to revise it. So that really had a very bad impact at that time on my profile, on my PSPs and everything. And that again started that kind of hate. Okay, I don't want to do programming. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. So it is
So
not
there
that you
is,
don't have
yeah,
bad days.
Vishal. So Vishal and I think Shujan, they have asked the same question, that with the current modules going on, how
Mhm.
to revise previous modules effectively, right? As you are saying that if you do not revise, it's definitely most likely you might not retain it fully, right? So what was your revision strategy? Tell us about that.
My revision strategy was a little bit lengthy because I used to make notes. I
Okay.
used to go through the recordings after my class. Might be, the recordings, I used to watch them at 2x. That was definitely so. The 2.5-hour class wrapped up in 1.5 hours, but I used to make notes. I have at least 8 to 9 registers just for scalar notes. Each and every module has notes. So whenever I really need to revise, even today, not just I'm talking about that this thing that I'm just using SQL. So data analyst and SQL are synonyms. We do use it, but certain times uh, that is a very big thing that sometimes you don't find it on the internet also. So I go through
Right.
my notes even today,
Right.
and
Right.
I think most of the time I desperately or intuitively left some of the questions so that I should come again and do my assignment questions. Also, I used to do the assignment questions twice because when you are attending the class, you are revising those things. Okay, so it is very easy for you. You learn the concept 2 hours back, and then you come up and just solve the questions, and okay, you are voila, you are good. But the only thing is that when you come after one week or after 2 to 3 days, are you able to solve those? So the only strategy was that okay, I am out of 10 questions, I'm able to solve 8. If I'm not able to solve 2, okay, so I need to revise those topics. For example, if we go to SQL, we are able to solve the union questions, or you can say the uh, I mean the subquery questions in that one, but you're not able to solve the window function questions. So you need to revise that topics. So that makes easier for you, and also it gives you a lot of confidence that okay, out of 10, now I'm able to solve 8.
Right.
Earlier I was not able to solve 10 also, but now I'm able to solve 5 or 6 or 7 or 8. This is a very big booster for anybody. So this was
Absolutely.
a whole strategy,
So
but
seems
I think
like creating personal notes is one good like you do recommend. Well, how
absolutely.
many of you do make personal notes during the class? Give a thumbs up if you do make notes. Of course, it could be everyone have their own ways, but Sugandha's what worked for Sugandha was that making notes. So uh, like some of you might want to start doing that and see if that works
That
for
was
you.
just in the beginning. I mean, at the advanced level, at the advanced stages, when we were done with this thing, when we are done, post, like you are done with Python basics, now you have to move to intermediate, then you have to move to SQL, then you have to move to Tableau. What we did, we revised, and when the assignment questions were done twice or thrice, or the additional questions were over, we came up with the strategy peer-to-peer learning. We are a group of 5 to 6 folks even today.
Right.
When we are placed, all placed, somebody from Scalar, somebody from outside, we just discuss our problems right now also. So this is the question, and we try to do it every weekend.
Tell us more
So
about this study group. Tell us more about that. How does that work? What all do you do? Because that's
uh,
very powerful, like fundamentally, when you have people with who you are learning together, you keep motivating each other. So tell us a little bit about that. How does this your
so
group study group work?
yeah, actually, we were facing. I still remember that day when we were taught about it. Started happening from the very beginning. We were in our Python early stages, and we all faced some kind of difficulty in the pattern solving problems. So we came up with this idea, okay, let's start this. Also, we have the DSML groups made by Scalar itself. So
Right,
we were a group of 5 to 6 folks, that came up, okay, we are from the non-technical background,
right,
and let's start this thing. Okay, are you solving this? So we were able to do a Google Meet type of thing or a video call type of thing. Over there we discuss about this thing, that okay, this topic was there. So somebody what after some time, what we decided is to analyze. Somebody was doing lead code, we analyzed each other's strength, basically. So me and one of my friend is having a strength in statistics, so we were over there, so we tried to pick up the questions that are being asked in the industries related to statistics, plus the SQL. So SQL, if somebody is having a strong hire or somebody is having a strength niche above in SQL, you can pick up. I can tell you the most of the websites that are related to SQL only. Stratascatch is one of the website where you can practice a hell lot of questions. And
Can you
I
tell me
personally
the name once again, Sugandha? We'll post that.
Stratascatch. I'll mention over here, sir.
Yeah.
So it is having beginner, intermediate, and advanced level of questions. In my 2 to 3 interviews, one was from Oyo, another one was from Swiggy. I think my SQL questions for the intermediate level were asked from there itself.
Yeah.
So, in the class, it is not possible to cover each and everything, but when you do a little bit, so it is not exhaustive even. You just take out 2 to 3 hours on the weekend, be it on Saturday, be it on Sunday. You do it, then you discuss all those things. The same strategy we followed for the business cases also. Like, if somebody is not able to solve it, somebody is not able to do it, okay, let's share our insights, let's share this thing, why this thing is not working, why this that thing is not working. We realize each other's strength and the weaknesses. So if I was a little bit downfall, I was having a downfall in programming or in DSA, one person from the another background, they say, okay, I'm able to do that, let's discuss over this thing. So we started analyzing different questions. We were doing lead code where, although it is not possible for us, to gather, to have that consistency to connect every weekend right now, but we try to do it, once in a month or twice in a month, and we try to solve as many problems even in the daily life, when we are facing such kind of problems even in our job. So we just put that question, okay guys, do you have any idea about this thing? So that's very helpful, because you learn faster when same peers are there for you.
Right.
And that really helped enhance our knowledge for all of us when we did our business case studies, because you can think of 2 to 3 insights or 4 insights or 5 insights, but a person who is working in a similar domain, somebody,
Yeah.
you get a case study from, now if I get a case study from ecom or something like that, I can assist more because I am seeing that in my job daily. And if somebody is working in pharma, so he can do this, okay, this kind of insight is very insightful. Same happened when we did Walmart case study, Target case study. So the insights grew, and really that helped us when we gave our interviews.
Right. Right.
Because
Right. So, guys, question to all of you: how many of you have created these, study groups? Like, give a thumbs up if you also have these 2, 3, 4, 5 people group with who you study together, share questions, new questions that you are coming across. ICC again. This is another very very powerful tool. Very very powerful, right? I'm very glad that many of you do already. Those who do not, uh, and I think. Those who have given a thumbs down, like see, you are part of these, WhatsApp groups already. Just make friends. Maybe Sugandha, can you tell us about how did you make these friends? How did you ice break that? How did you 3, 4 of you from the batch said, let's get together, let's do together.
actually, that is what, sir. When it started, we were solving the pattern solving problems, and everybody was giving solutions. So our group was very active. I feel like, we are one of the groups that had the best from Scalar. What you can just, scratch it out. Best people, best teammates, best classmates, best teachers, and best questions coming out of that one.
Guys,
So
I will
to have.
ask one more follow-up question. I think
Mhm.
one great way to find these people is how many of you have posted a, let's say, problem that you are trying to solve or a technical question in the WhatsApp group? Because that is the first icebreaker. If you ask those questions in the WhatsApp group, someone would respond, someone would help you out, right? And then you start getting to know that person, right? And then slowly you will create that group of 3, 4, 5, 6 people. You might be in the same city, might be in a different city. Uh, so many of you, of course, those who do not do that, that is the best way to create your study groups. And as someone said, ki study group ka biggest benefit is you can ask any silly question, whatever you feel, it's okay. It's totally okay, right? So please, like, see, this community is the most powerful thing. You could
Yeah.
use it for very powerful strength, or you could just be negative and make everyone negative and sad and feel कि अच्छा ठीक है कुछ नहीं होने वाला. So use it in the right way, right? Cool. Let's take some of the questions, Sugandha, that have been posted. And guys, soon we will also talk about that some of the reflections from Sugandha, that what mistakes she might have done. Then we'll come to how did she started applying, what all companies did she apply, uh, how did the interview, her interview experiences, and then like on the interview tips and tricks, polishing the resume, we'll talk about these are the different areas uh, uh, that we will be covering. Purnendu, as we mentioned, you are looking for a study group. I think a great way to get started on that would be start posting your doubts in your batch group, or even these DSML 1, DSML 2, DSML 3 groups that are there. Post in those groups. Someone will respond, someone will help you out, and then you can take it from there. Your first group is created right there, right?
And one more thing, if you are not aware about the scalar city groups, just go. You have got a greater audience over there, so you can reach out to those people also. They are alumni. They are the people who are more advanced than you, and they will answer each and every question, even if you get the response 1 to 2 days later, but somebody might connect with you and give you the answer for anything.
So, guys, another question: how many of you have participated in the City Club offline events? Give a thumbs up if you have been to that.
Nobody.
No, there are quite a few. There are quite a few. I'm very glad about that. So guys, that is another thing that in most of the cities like Delhi,
Hmm.
Bangalore, Delhi particularly is very, very active. Hyderabad is very, very active. Uh, and in the offline world as well, Subhendu is saying मुझे पता ही नहीं है. Lakshmi, in most of the cities, there are these city-based. Unless you are in a small town, there might not be people. In Bangalore, there is a very active city club. And one thing that happens is that in city clubs, you will realize that you are able to make network with people all the way. Like for example, Sugandha, in the city club, we had Ankit Pangapa, who is a senior
Yeah.
director, right? And all the way to freshers. So the kind of friendship and network that you make and the kind of mentorship and guidance you get there is very, very powerful. Uh, but it's okay, Saras, if you are in a small town, that's okay. Of course, this is more relevant for people who are in, Delhi, Bangalore, Pune, Hyderabad, etc. Because generally, in the larger cities, these groups are more present. Anurag, Sugandha's LinkedIn is pinned on the top. I have posted Sugandha's LinkedIn profile, so feel free to reach out to her. Right? So taking in some of the questions, so LinkedIn. Murli has a question. I am a commerce graduate working as a data processing analyst. I want to move to data analyst, data engineering role. Could you give me some tips on how to prepare for interview and how to apply with a Scalar platform? It will be grateful for me. Murli, one thing is that I think just next Sunday or next to next Sunday, we are hosting someone with exactly your profile. Someone who came from commerce background, was working in a purely non-tech role, and has transitioned to a data analyst role. So while of course in that session you will get to learn more specifics, but Sugandha, maybe if you could share tips on how to prepare for interview, how to apply on platforms other than Scalar as well. How did you do that? Maybe if you could first talk about your journey. How did you prepare your resume? How many companies did you apply to? Through what all channels did you apply? If you could tell your journey, I think that will be fantastic.
So I think, sir, this would bring me to this thing, my biggest mistake, the fear of getting rejected. Okay, every time more you learn, more you have this fear. I'm not able to retain it. I might get rejected. Get rejected, dude. How many times you want to get rejected? And the one very interesting feature of Scalar is that you have the power of mock interviews. Okay, so if you're going to get rejected here, you're not going to get rejected in the interview itself. So if you want to prepare sincerely, what as I started, I was already a data analyst, but on papers I was a data analyst, but not many of the people knew that I'm working as a business domain over there. My basic business domain was a digital marketer only. I started, and I cleared my mock for SQL far behind, and then I started applying at the Scalers portal around 5 to 6 months later, when I cleared my mock interview for my supervised and unsupervised learning also, because I really wanted to explore that fact that, okay, if I'll join as a data scientist. If I'll join as no, this is not the correct way, because you never know, things are going to turn your table, how you are going to change things. Even today, when I'm working as a senior data analyst, I'm learning lot of things, lot of things I can't really explain in words. I was the one who would say, I don't want to do Excel, I don't want to do this thing. Do it. You have to do it. So how I prepared, I really, made my resume. Firstly, consulting my mentors and my friends, go on the go on the external website, prepare your resume, get your resume reviewed by any expert, or you can use several people. This is where the connections work, because you have a lot many people, like Abhimanyu sir mentioned Ankit Pangasa. He's the one person, who reviews the resume, even for freshers, even for the software developers. And then you can realize your mistakes, where you are lacking. And the very most disastrous thing that I did to myself was not being actively looking for the social profiles, like your GitHub profile. Right now, today also, my GitHub is facing some problem, but what I do, I do my projects, I paste the link of all those projects, my Google Drive link. So anybody who is looking at my profile, who is looking at my work, they want to see my projects, they will go directly to my Google Drive link, and the visibility should be there. The visibility of your work should be there, and that should not be when you start applying for the job. That should be the process 1 year back also. As soon as you do your case study, as soon as you do your learnings, start showing your visibility to the recruiters, because this is not a 1 day process.
Right.
This will take 3 to 4 months, when you will get noticed by the recruiter, when they will see your work. And definitely, this is the whole journey all about. So even on the external platforms, you can just mention in your resume, this is my resume, this is the kind of work that I do, and this is the kind of thing, this is my project, this is the link. Be it a Google Drive link, be anything, be it a Kaggle profile, just share the link of the work that you do. Don't mention it over there, because the recruiter is not seeing your work. He doesn't know you, by face. He doesn't know, he has a lot many profiles to search for. What you can do is showcase your work, that I do this kind of thing. More you showcase, more you are visible to the recruiter. And please start early, as soon as possible. Please start early. Don't just wait for this thing that, okay, my mock interview is cleared, my this is cleared, so now I'm going to apply from Scaler. I'm going to work around, dude. Work around. I mean, this is not a platform that, okay, this is going to get me the job here. If you want to learn, there are a lot many websites, there are a lot many things also. So this is a guided channel where you can, and just take most of it, but you have to put in effort yourself also.
Right.
So just don't wait for somebody, that somebody is going to come up and somebody is going to, okay, can we have a look at your resume, can we review your resume, get your resume reviewed, be rejected. And the very first time you will get rejected, you will realize, okay, I didn't do this thing, that's why I got rejected. Give as many mock interviews as you want to give. And I can say this thing, you're going to fail in 3 mock interviews in Scaler, that is not going to harm your profile, not at all. Okay. And that will increase your chances of getting a job, not failing in the 3 interviews of the real time interviews, of the job interviews. Give mock interviews, full time mock interviews, as much as you want. They're just of 1,500 scalar coins. Give them, and you have a lot many advantage, because the interviews over here are far more experienced than that one. So give it.
There's a question from
Get
Vishal, Sugandha, that I'll take because you were talking about that. That should we start with DA or wait for DS role? Will there be any challenge from DA to DS? If pursuing DA, how much experience we should take before moving to DS? Because I know long back we had discussed that, so you have some personal experience here.
Okay, so it is not about starting. It is. how able you are to pull any role. Are you having that kind of critical thinking, that kind of insights that you can start with the DS role? Okay, if you don't have it, so dude, as I always say, it is not about getting offer letters. You might have 4 offer letters, 5 offer letters. Cracking an interview is not any of the end of anything. It is surviving that industry. If you are confident enough that you can survive the DS role, because when we talk about the data science role, it's not just about getting the fancy job, getting the fancy salaries or something like that. DS role is a lot more extension, a very big extension, when you have to talk about ML, when you have to talk about cloud, when you have to talk about AI. Everything will be demanded from you. So if you are not pretty confident, if you have not worked in that field early, I my suggestion would be start from the DA role. Then you can it is not that in the DA role you are just restricted to SQL or the DA only. No, I am working as a data analyst. I'm working on a machine learning projects. I'm working on the NLP projects. I'm particularly learning about the Gen AI, of the Chat GPT, anything about learning how to make the chatbots. On paper, it is a DA role, but your knowledge expansion can take to various perplexities. So if you're not confident enough, don't just go for this churn, that because that is going to create uh, a lot of hustle for you even more, and that is, I feel, some kind of demotivation also. If you are that much challengeable, that okay, if I'm going to get rejected, if I'm going to do this, go for it. That is a very subjective. So the challenges are not that much, until and unless, see, all of these technical skills are useless until and unless you are able to solve any business problem, even in the DA role, even in the DS role. If you are able to solve, if you are able to give up the insights, if you are able to give up the solutions to the business, you are bang on. So go for DA role, go for DS role. Only thing is that be very peculiar about the business, about the ask, about the requirements of the stakeholders, what they are asking, what they are demanding, and their expectations.
Right. Can you tell
This is
us
the
about your application process, Sugandha? How did you apply to the companies? What all different platforms, channels you found useful? And also, like I think one part that many people say is ki my resume is not getting shortlisted anywhere. I'm applying everywhere, but resume is not getting shortlisted. So, guys, I think on that, as Sugandha was saying, that like I would ask you all, how many of you have a active GitHub profile? How many of you have an active Kaggle profile? Right. So make sure that on all these platforms you have very active profile. Right. For example, Kaggle is a platform that with all the knowledge, like those who are in more advanced modules, if you start winning competitions on Kaggle, uh, like you will realize that now recruiters are reaching out to you on your own, right?
right.
Uh, like putting effort in all these platforms help a lot, right? If you could, so tell us about that. From where all did you apply? What all different channels did you apply for jobs from? And what, in your opinion, helped you get shortlisted for the interview first? And then tell us a little bit about your interview experience with the companies.
So the first and the very most thing was, I applied through Skiller, but that I started very late, and at the same time only I started applying at Naukri. So the one I chose was Naukri only. LinkedIn was there, but it wasn't of the paid version. So I took Naukri's paid version, but that didn't, I realized that didn't help me that much. That only just shortlisted my resume and with current skills. So you have to basically you have to design your resume according to the market skills. And as I say, when I mentioned my project, I used to mention what I'm doing, what was the problem, and how I am able to solve that problem. So that is the art, that how you realize this thing, that in 2 to 3 lines you have to explain your project, you have to explain about the problem, you have to explain about the solution also. So if you don't showcase your work to the recruiters, they are not going to reach you out, and that is what happened with me. Because the visibility, in digital marketing we say that, as soon as you do the SEO of your website will jump up to everything, but it takes time to get your website visible. Today if you make anything, that is not going to be visible to everybody, but slowly and gradually uh, it will be visible to everybody. So that slowly and gradual process should start from the very beginning. That should not be the time when you are ready, when you think you are ready. You have to put in your 1% daily. You have to put in that effort that you start applying for that one. So first one was the scalar placement policy, the scalar channel only. Second was Naukri. I designed my resume and I took the help of my mentor, because he shared his resume and he only explained me that you have to explain a little bit about this. You have to give the description, otherwise nobody will be reaching you out, because there are a lot of, and second thing is that, do mention a project in your resume that you are so much confident about. You have to get the recruiter to that point where you are confident, because if you give him that super set na, that you can ask anything, so never do that with the recruiter, because that is my fault. And I learned that through the mock interview. Never do that. If you're going to do that, he's not going to spray you out. You have to redirect the recruiter from where you are confident. You want that, okay, this is the thing, this is the. So in most of my cases when I gave the interview, it was a business ask, it was a business problem. It was not that, okay, well, how you're going to solve this, what is the Python function. No, it was, this is a business case study you have mentioned in your resume. They picked it from my resume itself. Okay, you have mentioned that you are solving this kind of projects, you have undertaken this kind of project. How you are able to, what was the business ask, what was the business problem, how you were came up to the business solution, what are the insights, and what impact did they create when you gave them the business insights. Did they implement it, and how it turned out, what was the impact.
Right. Could you tell us about like how many interviews you gave? Tell us about what were the rounds done in the interviews. Maybe when about your rejections and how did you tackle them?
Except from the mock interviews of Scalar, or including
No,
those
no,
also.
like except the mock interviews. Mock interviews are of course
Except for
part
the
of it.
mock interviews, I think when I started giving this, I started from May 23,
Hmm.
when I officially started giving my real life interviews.
Hmm.
So I gave around 8 interviews, and I was rejected in 3 to 4 interviews. It was.
Got it.
The
Got
very
it.
first interview was, I'll tell you one thing, sir. I mean, when I started in May, it was my husband who gave my, referral to one of his old company,
Hmm.
that is Infogain. So
Hmm.
Infogain was starting a data analytics section, or might be they have recently started the data analytics section in their firm, and they were looking out for the data analyst. So their ask was, we need hardcore statisticians, those who have the previous knowledge, because they wanted to work on the machine learning projects that were having a lot of, that were pulling a lot of linear and the logistic regression. So they asked me around, I think, 20 questions related to those, and the interview went for, the first round went for around 45 minutes. So the interviewer kept on asking me, and I cleared all those. And the one thing that I didn't clear was SQL, because I didn't practice it for around two months, and it happened. And he immediately rejected me that, if
Got
you
it.
don't know SQL. So from that journey to Lowe's journey, it was a roller coaster ride when I was written that you are being placed due to your technical skills, not your business skills.
Right.
So you have to get that one.
Right.
So moving to that, from this one,
Got it.
as many interviews as you give it, they will be there.
Got it.
And I
So I
think
think,
after.
Sugandha, this is a common thread that I see in most of the sessions, that MySQL is something which is like SQL interview is something that you notice that companies emphasize a lot on. And
Right,
if you are not strong with that, that kind of your probability of being able to clear the interviews is not going to be high,
right,
right? So, folks, one advice that I will give to all of you is, make sure that while of course all the modules are important, it does not mean that other modules are not important, but MySQL is bedrock foundation, right? So you
Exactly.
should ensure that you are really, really strong with it. Uh, Try to get a strong higher feedback in your mock interviews, in particularly MySQL, SQL mock interview, and ensure that before the interviews you have revised that thoroughly, right?
Exactly.
So SQL is definitely one of the very, very important modules.
We talk about AI, we talk about everything, but the very basic thing, okay, you if you can't, if you can't manipulate your data, definitely AI is not going to work for you or nothing. So the critical thinking part that comes on, that is through SQL also.
Right.
Okay, so even we have a lot of people in our organization, those who are working on the Gen AI and everything. But ultimately, at one point, when the query fails or when the results don't come, they come to us only. Data analysts are our own solutions. Please go through those databases. Please pull out this data for us and see what is working, what is not working. Our results are the ambiguous ones. We are not able to see that. SQL is for forever. That is not going to change. And if you are data analyst, SQL and data analyst are synonymous. They are not distinguishable.
Right, right, right. So tell us about the different rounds. That what all rounds happened in, maybe in your you know, your interviews with uh, the company that you joined. I'm just pulling
Mhm.
that up. At Lowe's, what all, how many
Mhm.
rounds were there in each round? What was asked?
So it was, I think, sir, in Lowe's, there were 6 rounds.
Okay,
Three of them were technical.
okay,
One was business, and last two were the general rounds. So when we start about the technical, only SQL was asked. The second and the third round were really, really, exhausting because the interview went for around 1 hour 15 minutes, and they prepared whole of the Excel. Judging each and every concept of you. And if you work in a very good company, they don't demand that your query should run right away. It is, they will say, just tell us the logic. And then, so it was like, from which team I'm working right now, they only took my interview, and my TL took my business, business assessment round.
okay.
So three of the technical rounds were there. One was of business assessment, and last two were the salary discussion and everything.
Understood,
So
understood.
the team who which has the requirement, that is done in, they will only take the interview, they will only approve it, and the manager only approves. So it is not that interview is taken by somebody and you are, you are recruited in some of the other team. You don't realize people. So it is just that. So in the technical rounds, it was whole of 1.5 hours, and they tested out on SQL, also on Tableau, a little bit of questions on Tableau, because Tableau and SQL, I suppose Tableau is a much more sophisticated version of SQL only. If you're clear with SQL, definitely you can pull out Tableau itself.
Right.
There's not much of that one. But even in SQL, they are going to test about your logic. They are not looking for something, please tell us. Nobody's going to ask you, please tell us what is the function of this one. They're going to say, okay, this is the question, how you're going to
So it's
come up
not
with
the
this.
memory; it's about logic. Like, can you break down the
Right,
logic and
right,
so on?
right,
Right.
right. It's not
So you do
about,
not need to memorize. Basically, you need to, however, be able to write queries logically.
right. So as many questions as you solve, you go to Strata Scratch, start solving your questions right now, post them. The recruiters are going to reach you out. So this is the whole roadmap. Start solving, uh, get your account done, post your link on your resume, your account link on your resume. The obviously the recruiters are going to see over there, and then they are going to reach you out. So.
This has been repeated question that in your interviews, were you asked data structures and algorithm for any of the DA interviews also?
Little bit.
Got it. Got
I
it.
won't
So
say,
not too
when I
hard, not
gave
too
the
advanced DSA, but basic DSA was asked.
basic DSA was asked, and obviously it was asked in Brilio because I was giving the interview for the NLP data scientist. So it is a requirement. It is not that you are expected to do software level of development, but if you don't know basic DSA, you can't work as a data scientist.
Right.
Not even as a data analyst, because certain days, yeah, it's not that we always work on SQL.
Right.
Mostly 85% it is SQL, but certain days we have to work on Python also. And if you don't know the basic data structures or something like that, or the optimization of those, things are not going to work because the
Can you
data
give
might.
us some example of some basic, like a question that might have been asked? One thing that I want to emphasize, guys, that in the DA role, you would not see, advanced DSA.
No.
Arrays, basic arrays, looping, iterations, those kind of things are enough.
Yeah.
On the data scientist role, however, you might require a little more exposure to DSA.
And moreover, they don't specify that okay, you do Python list only, Python dictionaries only. The basic ask for them is you should have the knowledge of NumPy pandas. And I think they will a little bit even until and unless you are not going to work in very high demanding job, or when you are working at a fang or man company, or a very big product based company on a very senior level where you need to work on architecture and design. Nobody is going to ask that advanced level of DSA from you. Basic is asked also. In data science interview, mostly what they focus on is you have a lot of machine learning models in that one. How much knowledge, how much logic you are able to apply, why we are doing this. So at that time you definitely need to have a little bit of DSA knowledge, because why do we use it? So that question should be clear. Why should be clear of everything.
There's a question from Mikala about when did you
Hmm.
start looking for job after completing which module did you start job exploration? I know that you did it pretty late, but
Yeah.
yeah, if you could tell something.
After, I think, I cleared even my unsupervised, my I still remember that neural networks were going on, and I then started looking for a job. And at that time I cleared my unsupervised learning mock, so I started looking for a job at that time, so it was
Got
pretty
it.
late.
Got it. But would you advise people to wait till then, or would you suggest that
No.
yeah,
Never wait till that time. Please don't wait it. If
uh,
specifically if you are a fresher, if you want to shift it to data science field, give your SQL mock interview, give your Python libraries mock, and start searching for job, because it is going to take time. The time you get your visibility to the recruiters, the time you start exploring jobs, you get a certain of time period is required when you really need to study the job description, what my job is demanding. Because it is at the end of the day, it is about the job requirement, what the recruiter wants from you. It is not about your skills or something like that. But you have to manipulate, or you have to do some kind of projects related to the related to the field that, or related to the requirement that a recruiter wants. So either do it on which you have your strength. Like, what I would suggest is, in the previous industry, might be you're not working as a data analyst or a data scientist, suppose you're working in a pharma industry, use your experience over there. Because that experience is not going to be provided by anybody else. Suppose if you're working in a if you're doing a job in a pharma industry for 2 to 3 years, try to pick up those projects that are related to your pharma industry, because that is very very relatable, and it will be very easy for you, because you're always a niche above. You have that knowledge related to the business, and you just have to apply your technical knowledge, rather than picking up the the distributed projects over there on the Kaggle. Okay, this is so much trending, why should we not do this thing? Do the one in which you are already there. You just have to enhance your technical skills. Your business skills are already there, so
right,
try to I basically did that only because I was a digital marketer. So I designed my projects, I did all the projects related to that only, that how
makes
come
sense.
I'm
That's a
able to
very
solve
good
a problem.
advice. Yeah, that's a very
Yeah.
good advice. So, guys, Sugandha's LinkedIn profile is already pinned on the chat, so maybe you can see there. Otherwise, maybe Sugandha is there in the WhatsApp group. We'll see if she could share the resume, so you can
Yeah.
refer to it. You can take some inspiration that how you could structure your resume as well. All right. Uh, Aditya has a very interesting question, and which is actually very, very profound as well. Aditya's question is that how to identify companies with potential to grow in terms of learning when applying for the job. So that even if the salary is less at that time, you can at least rest assured that the learning that you will get is going to catapult you to, much faster career growth when you decide to change. So of course, as I keep saying that in IT industry, in data science industry, etc., you are not doing a laborer's job, right? So it's not just about that you did the work and you got the money. What you learn at the job, what kind of people you are working with, how much you are learning, that is your real earning. Because over the long time, over 3, 4, 5, 6 years, let's say even if someone takes up a slightly, let's say 2 lakhs higher job, but the person is not learning anything at the job, is doing very menial work, versus someone who even started with slightly lesser salary but is in a job where the person is learning very advanced stuff. Within few years, the second person would have gotten much ahead, right? So would you have any tips on that, that how to identify that a company that I'm potentially going to join, whether I will
Mhm.
get a good learning opportunity there or not?
The only the recruiters have the only medium to converse with any of the recruiter and you is just a resume, also the JD that they share. So for example, for most of the companies, I also had the offer of JLL. That is a very stagnant company, I must tell you, although that was in my comfort zone because that was just 7 kilometers away from my home. And they provided me a little bit of relaxations also. You don't have to come to that one, did this, did that. But the only thing that I realized, it's a very stagnant company. The role that I was working in previously is the same role that I have to implement over here also. Go through the JDs, and whenever your interview is scheduled, uh, before that, that's a very good point also. Whenever you start giving, even for the first round, the first and the very most thing the HR is going to ask you, do you know about this company? So that gives a little bit of a good impression on the HR and also on the interview, that you have read about that company. Also, you have read about the job description. Go through your, just don't, look at the skills and start apply. Okay, apply. Go through that JD. Of all the companies that you choose, of all the companies that you apply, please go through the JD. Please go through the company's profile before joining any interview call, because at the time, when they're going to ask, can you explain us if we are facing such kind of problem, if we are facing such kind of business scenario, can you give us some insights, or can you give us the action plan? Because this is such a spontaneous question that came to me around for 3 to 4 industries. Oyo asked me this thing. Okay, please open our website. So the screen was sharing, and the recruiting person, he just opened the website, and can you say, so he just asked me that, this is our website, can you share your insights how to increase the reach? You have worked as a digital marketer, okay, so can you show us how to increase the reach of the customers, or what should be done to optimize our website? So that is a very spontaneous question. If you don't know it, so obviously that will give a very bad impression on the recruiter itself.
Right.
Please don't do that. Go through the job description, go through the company's profile, and ask the HR. Try to ask the HR whenever he or she approaches you that, okay, can you explain me what kind of work will I do? Will there be learning or not? So this is the only way that you can get through.
Right. There's a question from Jyoti which asks that, can you share your different social media profiles? Let's say, be it Kaggle, be it LinkedIn is shared already, but any of
Yeah.
your profiles that people can see as a reference, that if they spend, let's say, next 3, 6, 9 months building such a profile, maybe what would be best, Sugandha, is maybe you can share that in the WhatsApp groups.
Right. Right.
Everybody.
Because to be honest, sir, I think I
So
have, since I joined Lowe's, I'm not active on those profiles also, because I was thinking that I'm presently preparing for my NLP module, and I need to give a little bit of competitions related to that. So I might not be active on those profiles or something like that. So I'll share the link over that. No
we'll
worries.
share the link, Jyoti. But of course, it might not be very active now, and that
Yeah.
always happens. See, even on Kaggle, let's say
Hmm.
I might be very active for 6 months, 9 months, and then I get busy at the job. Right? So then, now I will also come to that, like sometimes we think ki, theek hai, I will do something, I'll clear an interview, like little bit of that UPSC mindset, right? Ki, theek
Yeah.
hai, once I get selected, then my life is set. Uh,
No.
but can you tell us a little bit about that? That how is life? How is how is it to be at a working in a fast-paced company? What does it take? What would you advise to someone like beyond interviews also?
Yeah. Oh, well, this is the reality, sir, that I will be sharing today. So it is not about getting the offer letters of so many, good fortune companies. Okay, I have the offer letter of this, I have the offer letter of this e-com company, this one.
Yeah,
The real journey begins when you start to enter that organization. Okay, so when I talk about myself, it was just 1 week when I got my asset and when I visited Bangalore to collect my asset.
cool. So Sugandha, you were talking about like let's continue with your inputs that you were suggesting.
Yeah, so as I was saying, if you are going with a UPSC mindset कि हो गया है हो जाएगा नहीं होगा, because your real journey starts when you enter any of the organization. Because उस time पे तो आपने you just gave the logical answer and it worked. What if you are not able to prove? What if you are not able to give the insights that they are expecting?
Yeah,
So whenever one is hiring you, please expect they will have a higher expectation from you whenever you join, because there's a we have to accept it, guys. There is a recession in the market and you have to prove yourself even today that you deserve this job. So obviously it is not a very icing on the cake. Okay, we are getting most of the people say, oh wow, you have such a great profile, you are such in a good company, you might be earning a lot. Might be, but ask me what it takes.
right.
And definitely the journey of learning, specifically when we enter any of the organization, the learning journey cannot stop. If it stopped, trust me, your the your journey, how long you have came, that will be ruined for all. Just try dropping your consistency for 1 month. Don't pick up your books just for 1 month, just for a trial, and you will see a lot of degradation in yourself. You will see a lot of down confidence in yourself. You have to learn daily, you have to experiment daily, you have to come up with this everything. Your your logic is correct, your coding is correct, still the results are not correct. You have to collaborate with people, why this is not coming, why that is not coming. So this is not at all an easy journey. Please don't walk with this kind of mindset that okay, if I get a job, okay, now I'm safe, now I don't have to do any work because I can do this thing. No, you have to. Today I learned SQL, tomorrow I need to do NLP, third day I need to learn AI, fourth day I need to learn this thing. And with the implementation, this is not that okay, learning would work, because you are learning just 30%, but the implementation is 130%. So you
Right.
have to prepare yourself for that. And there's a continuous pressure of performance. You have to do it. If your scale tries to go down, be prepared for the consequences.
Right.
That's
Right.
it.
Right. So guys, I will re-emphasize that in the corporate sector, your learning has to be a lifelong journey. You will,
Like,
giving interviews, clearing interviews, only first step, right? Uh, Sir Jendu has a question that ma'am, I'm weak in statistics and math. Can you share some advice on that? How could he give more time and build better capability in statistics and math?
okay, so Suryendu, what I would say is, this is a very, very extended field, math and stats, math and stats. Don't try to learn everything. Just focus on that one that is required for your job, that is required by the industry. Because I can tell you myself, I've studied 1,000, 2,000 of things in statistics. They are not useful. Definitely nobody is going to ask me how come this derivation has come. So just don't feel overwhelmed with that one. You can try coming up with the assignment questions and try to go topic by topic, rather than there are 3 or 4 topics that are majorly used in the in the real industry, that we talk about the probability and obviously conditional probability and when we talk about maths, so there are few more topics. Try to focus on those topics only rather than focusing on each and every additional detail, and try to practice as much as you can. Just go on the Byju's and that one, you can practice your math over there.
Yeah.
There are a lot many websites on for stats also. So just don't read any of the, try to read the content that is very very easy, so that the concept should be clear. It should not be that you are going to read a, the research paper or something that will be overwhelming. Please don't do that.
Right. So I think, as Sugandha said, that when you are learning, do not try to just learn everything in one go. Solve the problem that you are solving now, go in depth in that, and then keep iterating that. Because if you start with thinking, this is a common mistake people do,
Yeah.
that we start thinking, yeah, we are studying math, so let me cover all the topics of math end to end. That will never happen. It's very, very fast. Focus on what you are solving right now. Rishabh has a question that can you suggest some sources for learning prob and stat, and for practice as well?
Mm, so Rishabh, I think most of the content and mostly the 85% of problem solving is covered by the scalar assignments only. Rest, you can go on these websites, I suppose, where we talk about, because permutation, combination, and obviously differentiation, integration, these are the topics that are being covered in the machine learning part also. So a little bit of advanced kind of mathematics, so that is all plus one plus two mathematics. So you can search for those on the websites like Byju's or something. They will be available over there. But please, again, don't try to do it for the IIT level. Try to be very much clear about the concepts. Why are we doing it? Not about the methodology, how to do it.
Makes sense. Makes sense. There's a question that Ayush have about additional pauses for non-tech students. Ayush, so while there are three pauses available, in cases of genuine, let's say, medical emergency or such emergencies, you can put in an application for the waiver of additional pause fee. They might request you for proof of, let's say, emergency. Let's say if someone, for example, there are predefined processes that if someone has any medical need, then additional pauses are provided without cost. If someone, let's say, there are cases like if someone is getting married, then there are additional pauses provided without cost. So in case of genuine emergencies, they are provided. The reason to put the cost with pauses after three pauses is only that if you can take infinite pauses, then you might just keep pausing forever. Right? So there has to be some, might not need the pause right now. But if there is a genuine case, there is a process to put an application for waiver, and that could be approved if your reason is genuine. Uh, all right. So, guys, we'll take, given we have only 9 more minutes, 10 more minutes left. So we will take in maybe 5 more questions before we end the session. Of course, Sugandha has been, those of you who are in Delhi, please make sure that you attend next City Club event. Sugandha, you can meet Sugandha in person also. Sugandha, whenever you are in Bangalore next, we should host a City Club event in Bangalore. So
Sure.
those who are in Bangalore, because I know Sugandha keeps coming to Bangalore. Uh, Varid will take your questions. So cool. On the top, we have question from Shashank. What are the challenges faced while getting a job, like getting interview calls, resume building, clear HR rounds, and verification, except for interview preparation, when there is a career gap of so many years? Although I think you talked about it quite a bit, and this question was also asked 60 minutes ago. Guys, do you think we, like Sugandha, should answer it again, or do you think this was covered already? Because I felt key in the whole conversation, this was covered already. Okay, it's equal. Maybe Sugandha, you can quickly tell us about that. Apart from preparation of the interview, what were other challenges did you face because of your career gap?
So this happened when I was joining in 2022. The very basic question, obviously, your resume don't get shortlisted. Don't lose hope. One and when obviously the one thing that my mentor told me, beggars are not choosers. So at the time when you are beggar, try to skill yourself as a chooser. Don't try to negotiate on those things. This is a very strong, that's a very strong lesson that I learned. So the very day I joined my company prior joining Scalar. I realized that I can't be a beggar anymore. I have to be a chooser. And so the very basic question, it's a 4-year gap, how come you're going to learn about the industry standards? And that's where you need to, realize that, okay, I might compromise on that one. And that is the reason why I got job as a digital marketer. But soon, I might not be able to share it with you. So when I joined TTF, Today Tomorrow Forever IT Solutions, I joined as a digital marketing analyst, not as a data analyst. So after 3 to 4 months, I was promoted as a data analyst because I started giving them the insights related to data, and I started taking up the machine learning problems. I mean, I started taking up those problems to a next level where they would require the answer of how and what next. So that happened through the machine learning modeling and that one, because I learned. I was so that is a win-win situation for me. I was learning from Scalar and I was implementing that in my real job. That is what happening today also. I'm learning from here and I'm implementing that in my uh, present job. So that's the whole thing.
Right. Uh, Let me see. I think Varid had a question on motivation. Uh, Varid, could you post your question maybe once again? I am not able to see it. If you can maybe just post that in the chat. But I think overall the question was that how do you? I'm sure there would have been time where you how to motivate yourself. There would be time when you are feeling here, uh, uh, so what was your motivation? Rishabh here has habits are the real thing. Motivation is a lie, which I do agree with. But would he love to hear from you, Sugandha, that who motivated you? How did what was that process? Who is your source of motivation to put through all the efforts?
Well, that is a very, very subjective question. They are not just, good days or something like that. There had been a lot of bad days, and you should rather ask this question from my husband, because he used to come from the job and I was crying and crying. I'm not able to do it. I won't do it. At the end of the day, there are a lot many people. There's a list of people who motivated me, so I was blessed in this, touch wood. The one is sitting in front of you. Also, when I joined Scalar, we had Mudit. So at the time of joining, he just told one thing. He warned us in the very beginning that this is not a sprint race, this is going to be a marathon.
Yeah.
Whenever you feel low, just try to think this thing, why you started.
Yeah.
So in my life, what my mantra has been, why should be answered every time. Why I'm doing this, why I started, why I wanted to do this, why we need to do this. So if your why is there, everything is clear.
Yeah. Yeah. No, makes sense. Makes sense. And I think the most important part is it's a marathon. It's not a sprint.
It's a not a
Patience
sprint.
and yeah. Because see, guys,
Yeah.
the skills you are building, and like now I have another opinion as well, which has changed over last 1 to 2 years. Often we get too indexed on, ki, Arey, am I getting an interview in next 2 months or not? Am I getting the job offer in next 6 months or not? For everyone in the data science domain, the current revolution that is happening in AI, ML, etc. If you learn of all of these with a lot of depth, for next 10, 20 years, you are set in life. Because this is a domain where there are fewer people with the depth of knowledge that the curriculum covers, and there is going to be massive demand. So think of it as a marathon over many years, not just 2 months, 4 months, because that thinking as a sprint only gives you stress. Once you realize that the skills you are building are the highest demand skills in the world, and the demand is only going to increase multifold in the years to come. So focus on building these skills and think of this the long-term ROI that you may derive from that. Right? Uh, cool. Let's take two more questions before uh, uh, finishing the session. Uh, I think this is answered already. I think people are looking for your resume, Sugandha. So maybe later on, if you can share that, they were not able to find it on. Yeah.
Share it. I'll share it on my LinkedIn profile as well, sir. I think that might have been distorted, or but as far as I remember, I had my resume on my LinkedIn. I'll reshare it. No worries.
Right, right. Vrushab, let's take this last question from Vrushab before we end the session, because it's a very, very interesting question. What advice would you have for your younger self? It might be a random question for you, but it's a goldmine question for me. So, Sugandha, over to you. What would be your advice for your younger self?
Uh, don't be impulsive. Be patient and trust yourself more. So things will happen eventually. Never underestimate yourself, because that is, and don't try to run from anything, because Rishabh, I tell you, in my grad days, it was past in 2010 when we started programming. I used to run a lot because at that time we had C++. So if you don't get a good tutor, you start running from that process. Ultimately, when even after these 20 years, 16 years, 17 years, you have to do the programming. Don't don't run from anything that scares you. Do it, finish it, conquer it. Secondly, have patience, don't be impulsive, trust yourself. Things will happen eventually. And as sir said, ki don't map your intelligence, or don't, judge yourself within a span of 2 to 3 months. The same advice I was given when the event happened in Delhi, when he visited Delhi. So at the same time, and it was 1 year back, and from there till today, I am continuously learning. I am not judging myself. Okay. There are days when, if I tell you about my today's scenario, I haven't slept for 2 days because I'm not able to run a query. I'm not able to get a result. I'm not able to deliver the result that was due by Friday. But some technical issues happened. What can we do? We have to work on that one. Face it. Don't run from anything, because that is ultimately going to come back to you. The longer you run, the more impact it will have, and it might shake you up also. Face everything and be patient. Don't be impulsive. I was very impulsive.
Fantastic. So thank you so much, Sugandha. I read a comment little above, which actually kind of stirred some emotions. Here, I think Manjula had wrote that it's a very, very inspiring session, and that she said, "I see me in you." So thank you
Thank
for
you so
inspiring many people, and I'm sure that I would be hosting many people from this, like I'm sure today you are on the other side. You would
much.
have attended so many sessions as a learner, as a student. Today you are on the other side, joining in as a uh, instructor, if I may call it, and sharing your advices. I do hope that many from this group who are today in the attendees would also be coming to the other side. So all the best, guys. That I'll close with the session with just one thing. As a group, as a be it a community, be it a society, be it a country, what propels it ahead is whether people are positive, whether they have each other back, and whether they push each other to go ahead and above and beyond. Right. On the other hand, societies which are, or groups or the countries which are just torn and there is only misery, are the communities and countries where people are just pulling each other down, where they are just negative. Right. Fortunately, in the scalar community, there are so many people who are selflessly willing to give their time, advice, suggestions to help everyone. Let's leverage that. Let's grow together. This is a small community, but this could be the community of best data science professionals in the world.
Exactly.
Collectively, we will do that. But of course, we all have to do it together. So, all the best to all of you. Get back to your studies, keep putting in the hard work. And the way data science domain is advancing, I hope some of you might end up building chat GPT like systems maybe 5 years down the line. Uh, Take care. All the best. Have a great day.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
so
for
much,
joining.
Sugandha. Bye.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks a lot.
Check out Scalar's masterclass by industry leading experts only on Scalar's event page. Link is in the description below.